Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Team ISBA, I take immense pleasure in welcoming Ms. Parul Singhal for handling the session on Public Financial Management System, PFMS. And I also take this opportunity to thank NSTDB, Dr. Nami Mashist of NSTDB for coordinating between ISBA and the Controller General of Accounts for identifying the resource person and for making this program to happen. It's one of the critical topic, or it's a practical session that we thought of having it on behalf of ISBA for its members. And this is the second program we are organizing it. In fact, it is the third program that we are organizing it in the last 3 years on PFMS. But we thought of having this program as an annual event or annual program, because the team at the incubation centers frequently change, new people come in, and the new incubation centers get sanctioned. And always there is a challenge for the officers who are involved in the day-to-day operations of incubation management in handling the PFMS and EAT module. So on behalf of the team ISBA, I thank Ms. Parul Singhal for sharing this morning with us. As mentioned in the program collateral, we have planned this event between 10 and 2 today. But how we have planned this, there will be an overview of the PFMS for about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. And we will be having an open house session where the members can throw their questions, clarify their doubts. And I request to the participants, the representatives of the incubation centers, to make use of this opportunity and get the clarifications as much as possible. And with these few words, I welcome all the participants and the incubation managers from various incubation centers across the country. With these few words, I request Ms. Parul Singhal to take over the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. My name is Parul Singhal, and I am Assistant Accounts Officer PFMS. First I'll be telling you some about the PFMS each module, the basics of PFMS each module, and then we'll go for question answer session if you have any specific doubts. So I'm sharing my presentation with you. So I'll cover here the registration of program implementing agencies, all the agencies, mapping of these agencies, then registration of vendors, and then filing of expenditure advance and transfers. In between, we'll also take care of how to receive different kind of funds which you will be getting. So first is the registration of agencies. As far as my knowledge is concerned, all your organizations is already receiving funds from ministries for various programs. So all your organization is registered, because whenever a ministry transfer funds to you through PFMS, first of all, what they do is register your organization on PFMS. So it is the task of the funding organization who is funding the organization to register the organization on PFMS. So after the registration, all the functions of each module can be done. So if sometimes what happens is that your organization is already registered by some ministry. For example, DST has already registered you and is funding you. During the course of time, some other ministry or some other organization wants to fund you for some specific program of Government of India. So then please mute your mic. Then you have to register that particular scheme in which you will be receiving funds through PFMS from either ministry or some organization. So agency need to do the scheme registration part, and then the approval happens. Because once an organization is registered on PFMS, it cannot be registered again. So registration is done once, and after that the organization can work in multiple schemes. So every time a new scheme is appearing, and you will be getting getting fund in a new scheme, then you have to do the scheme registration. So how this scheme registration is done, this is the screen for scheme registration from administrator level. So I'll be hoping that you all must be having your admin login ID and passwords with you. So if yes, then it's okay, and if not, in the end I'll tell you how to retrieve the admin login ID and password if you don't have. Okay. So please note a few things, that we have three different types of logins in PFMS for any agency. First is the administrator login, second is the maker and checker. So maker and checkers are meant for the transaction purpose only, and administrator meant for the managing activities, that management of the makers and checkers and scheme management, funds management. So all the management kind of thing is done at the administrator level. So whenever your organization will be getting fund from a new scheme, which you from in which you have never got anything, so the scheme registration you have to do, and after that your funding organization will approve it. So how to do the scheme registration? Administrator, from administrator login, go to my schemes, register new scheme, enter the scheme name or code, enter your bank details, your own bank details, your bank name, in which your account lies, the account details, and these three funding agency options. So these are, I will receive funds directly from the central government, means if you are getting the funds directly from the ministry, then you have to select the first option. If you are get sorry if you are getting funds from any other organization other than ministry, then you have to select the third option, and after selecting the third option you have to enter the name of the organizations from which you get the funds. So in case of central government, that means you are getting funds directly from the ministry, you don't need to enter the name of the ministry. And but in case of the organization other than the ministry, if you are getting the funds, then you have to mention the name of the organization. And then the scheme registration you will do, the name of the agency name, your organization name against the accounts number which you have mentioned in the bank, you have to write in the last cell. And then you have to click on agency account scheme component mapping. This mapping is kind of the in a particular scheme there are multiple kind of activity you have to carry out. So for each activity there are the components which are designed. So activities are called components in the PFMS. So there are number of activities in a scheme, so you have to map those activities with you. So just click on this option, click on bulk, and then save. So this is the part of registering a new scheme if you are getting fund from new scheme other than the current schemes. So this is the scheme registration. This is done at the admin level. After that, your funding organization will approve your bank details, approve your scheme, map your organization in the hierarchy. So this all work will be done by either the ministry or the agency who is funding you. So all the tasks left with the funding organization. So we have two basic things in each module. First is the hierarchy and second is the components. So hierarchy is like how the scheme functioning is happening down the line. In your case, there may be hierarchy of one level only because you are the incubator centers. So there may be hierarchy of one level only, but in many of the schemes, the hierarchy goes down the line. That means if you can take an example of a the scheme called PMAY, in which the fund is being sent to the states and then it goes to the districts and blocks. So there can be hierarchy down the line. So in that case, the hierarchy is designed by the ministry. Second thing is the component part is the all the activities which you will be carrying out for the scheme implementation. So for example, salary, training, equipment purchase, or whatever the heads you may be calling, that the heads or some other words you may be using for the things. So these are the activities you need to carry out for the implementation of schemes. So all these activities are called the components. So these two are the basic things. So the your organization, if you are getting funds from the ministry, so it should be mapped in the hierarchy. That means the program division or the funding organization should clearly place your organization in the hierarchy level. Then only you'll be able to work and you'll be able to view the reports. So this is the mapping procedure. I think it's not much relevant to your organization, so I'll discuss it in the end if anybody has some doubt in this regard. Now we'll start by creating the users. So agency administrator is the first user which is created by default whenever your organization is registered on PFMS. So by default a user is created which is called agency administrator. The agency administrator will create two types of users. But one is agency data operator, which we call as a maker, and second is the agency data approver, which we called as a checker. So agency data operator, that means maker, will file the entries of expenditure, advance transfer, whatever you require. So it creates the entries and the approver will approve the entries, the checker will approve the entries. And if you are using the digital signature mode, e-payment mode, then the approver level, the agency data approver, that means checker level, will use his DSC, digital signature certificate, to clear the payment. So these two users can only file the transaction entries. Administrator is unable to file any kind of transaction entries. Neither the administrator can create the entries nor approve the entries. So administrator has only the managing powers, nothing else. So how to create these users? From the administrator level, you have to go to masters, users, add new, select the type of user, agency data operator or agency data approver. There can be a number of agency data operator, there can be a number of agency data approver, there is no limit on that. Enter the details of the operator and approver, whichever you have selected. Enter the login ID which you want to create, and then click on submit. After submitting, the password will go to the email ID the administrator will mention here. So the password will go on email ID, and then operator and approver can use these logins. So this is the way how to create operator and approver. These users are the mandatory users for filing the each entry, the expenditure, advance and transfer entries. Then we have the receipt part. So I'll show the receipt part from the training server login. So this is our training server, and I'm showing you how to take the receipts. So PFMS has different kind of receipts. So receipts can be taken from my funds option, the opening balance, central government, other agency, state government, interest and income from other sources. What all these means? Opening balance should be a one-time activity. Whenever you start the PFMS module, whatever balance is lying with you, you should enter it as an opening balance in PFMS system, and then start the PFMS module. This is the basic definition of opening balance. Everybody will be telling you whenever you get any kind of training or anything, you will get this basic definition that whenever you will enter on EAT module, you have to enter the funds left with you as opening balance on that date and then start using PFMS. No, this is a very wrong definition. Actual what happens is opening balance, it, or every entry you are making depends upon the reports which you want to see. So everything is connected with the reports, and we are doing EAT entries on PFMS module just to create the reports, because Ministry of Finance or your ministry, everybody in the top management wants to see the reports, real time reports. So everything you have to do is in connection with the report part. So opening balance, now you have to enter the amount left with you as on 1st April 2018. So you have, what you have to do is, if you are getting funds since 2018-19, and then if you want to start your EAT module today, then also you have to log in the previous financial year, that means 18-19 financial year. Enter the balance as on 1st April 2018 as opening balance in this opening balance entry. Please note down the dates because these are very important. People make mistake and then reports get problematic, and after that you have to make the corrective entry. So I want to clear this thing, that if you are getting funds since 2018-19, prior to that it is okay, but if you are getting funds since 2018-19 financial year, then you have to start your EAT module from financial year 18-19 onwards only. You cannot start your EAT module today. So in EAT module there is a provision of logging into previous financial years and make the entries. So as a opening balance entry, if you want to start the EAT module and you haven't started yet, then you have to file the opening balance entry. The balance which was available with you as on 1st April 2018, enter it as an opening balance. How to enter? Go to my funds, opening balance, the data operator, the agency DO, the data operator will initiate this entry and approver will approve this entry. So from agency DO level, go to my funds, opening balance, click on add opening balance, select the scheme, the account number will automatically appear. You have to select if multiple accounts you have mapped with one scheme. Amount which was with you as on 1st April 2018, then opening balance date should be 1st April 2018 if you were receiving funds from since 2018-19. If you haven't received any fund till 31st March 2019, then this whole exercise you have to do as on 1st April 2019. So what happens is, in our report we capture the releases part, that whatever fund you are getting, we take it as an unspent balance. So if you will if for example, if you have got some fund, for example 100 rupees you got in the 18-19, and but you starting your EAT module today, so 80 and entering opening balance as 50 rupees which was left with you out of that 100, then it will create a double amount of receipt. So what you have to do is, you have to check whether you are receiving funds from 18-19, 19-20, 2021, or from the current year. Accordingly, you have to decide that which opening balance date you have to take. So select the date, click on bulk, do not enter it component wise, click on save, do not click on is reversal entry. This is reversal entry means that whatever amount you will enter here will be negative. If you will click on this is reversal entry, the whatever amount you will enter here, it will be treated as negative. So do not click on is reversal entry, then click on save. After saving, the approver will approve the entry. How approver will approve the entry? He'll go to my funds, opening balance. All these opening balance entries created by the data operator will be viewable to him. Then he'll click on bulk and then approve the entry. The approve button will be highlighted and approve the entry. So in this way, the opening balance can be created. After that, we have one source of fund is two sources of fund received from central government and received from other agency. The difference is received from central government. In this, those funds will be appearing which you will get directly from the ministry. So whatever you are getting directly from the ministry will appear in the received from central government, and whatever funds you are getting from any other organization other than ministry, then it will be appearing in the receipt from other agency. So these two funds, these two options will be managed by the administrator only. Administrator will click on this option received from central government. The login financial year should be same in which the fund was received by you. So if you got some fund in 1819, then you have to log in into financial year 1819, select the financial year 1819 here, select the scheme account in which the fund is received, then click on search. After searching, the funds will appear here. As this is a training server, so sanctions will not appear here, so you have to just see. So sanction will appear here, and then you have to click on the sanction and receive it. This part is done by the agency data administrator, not the operator or approver. Maker checker cannot do this entry. This entry can be done only by the data administrator, admin level, agency admin. And the login financial year should be same as in which the grant is received. Second option is the receipt from other agency. The same thing. It will also be exercised by the agency administrator only. Checker cannot receive the funds from the other agency. Same, my funds, go to receive from other agency, select the scheme, bank account, click on search. Again, login financial year should be same in which the fund was received. So 1819 funds can be received only by logging into 1819. 1920 funds can be received only by logging into 1920, and so on. So in this way, you can receive these funds. Next, we have the receive from state government. I think it is not applicable to you because your scheme is a central sector scheme. So I'll not explain it in details, but this is a manual entry. If anything you're getting from the state government, you can exercise this option. Other than these two, receive from central government and receive from other agency, other than these two, all the options are exercised by the operator and the approver level. So because these are manual entries, so operator will do the entry and approver will approve the entry. Next, we have the interest income. The ministry has released you some funds, and the money is lying with you in your saving bank account. So whatever interest you have earned on the amount given to you by the ministry, you have to show it as interest income and refund that back to the ministry. So you have to select the bank account in which the fund was lying, and then first go to my funds, click on interest income, then click on add interest income, select the bank account in which the fund was lying, period for which the interest is credited, because usually bank credits quarterly interest. So select the quarter for which the interest is credited. Select the credit date, interest credit date as mentioned in your passbook. Select the total interest amount. Then select the scheme in which the interest was earned. So sometime it happens that the scheme amount and your own corpus lying in the same bank account. So in that case, you have to, and you have to bifurcate in your books of accounts. You have to bifurcate the interest part, which how much amount belongs to the scheme and how much amount belongs to your corpus. So after that bifurcation in PFMS, you have to enter only that interest part which belongs to the scheme. Which belongs to your corpus does not need to be entered in PFMS. So only that part of interest which belongs to scheme you have to enter in the PFMS. Click on submit. After making this entry, click on submit, and approver will approve this entry. Next, we have the income from other sources, which may be very useful to you because it's a center sector scheme. Interest income from other sources add new. So this is the income from other sources. Other sources means if you are getting funds from any kind of sale proceed, or any kind of training fees you are charging, or incubation center fee you are charging, which
Charging.
belongs to the scheme, then you have to enter it as a income from other sources. If you are crediting that amount in the scheme, if you are not crediting the amount to the scheme, then you know not need to enter. So whatever you want to credit to the scheme, whatever extra income if you are getting, and you want to credit that to the scheme portion, then you have to select this entry, income from other sources. So we have number of fund sources, miscellaneous income from other sale proceeds, loans, everything. So you can select a fund source. The entry type will be decided from the fund type. So if you are selecting the grant in aid and donor, that would be a receipt on your part. But if you are selecting the loans advances, then it will be the refundable kind of fund. That means sometime it happens that you have to spend the money for this scheme, and then after that you will get a reimbursement from the ministry. So in that case, you have to use PFMS, you have to make the current entries. So you have to initiate the loan. So from fund sources, you can select the loan one. In fund type, you can select the loans advances. The balance will be created in PFMS. You can carry out the transaction, and whenever ministry will refund you the amount, reimburse you the amount, then you can settle that loan, refund that loan. So in this way, these income from other sources are helpful. Again, this entry will be created by the operator and will be approved by the approver. So we have this. Just think. Option is not visible, I guess. Okay. There is one more option in my funds, income from other sources. I don't know why it's not scrolling. Yeah, manage refund settlement. So from this option, you have to refund the loan if you have initiated any. So loan amount is not accounted. Uh, Loan amount is not accounted in the report. It is only accounted in the front end balance, which will be appear for expenditure, advance, and transfer. So you can initiate a loan if there is a reimbursement kind of thing happening with you in a scheme. Then we have expenditure, advances, and transfers. These are the my funds. How you can receive a fund. Investment detail option is removed. It's not working. And now we have the expenditures, advances, and transfers. Expenditure, again, these entries will be created by the operator and will be approved by the approver. So you have to do is, for expenditure, click on add new, select the scheme, the bank account, the expenditure done for. These three things will appear: self, vendor, and beneficiary. Beneficiary is meant only for the scheme NHM, National Health Mission. Other than that, beneficiary is not used. Self and vendors, two different things. Self is used when you withdraw a petty cash for impressed cash. Just cash, if you are withdrawing from the bank, then you have to use the self mode. Other than self check or other than cash, you have to use the vendors. So you have to select the vendors, select the vendor to whom you want to make the payment. So what are vendors actually? Vendors are the one who are getting money from you in turn of the, the goods and services delivered to you. So all the employees of your organization who are getting the salary or anything else, who all the commercial entities from whom you are getting some goods or services, so all that are called vendors in PFMS. Even employees are also called the vendors in PFMS. So first of all, to carry out this expenditure entry, you need to create the vendors in PFMS. So how to create vendors? Vendors can be created by the operator or the administrator level. Both can create the vendors, but it is recommended that operator should create the vendors. So how to create the vendors? From the operator level, the agency DO, approver cannot create the vendors. So from the agency DO, go to masters, vendors. These four options will appear in front of you. First, this add new option. Add new option is to create a single vendor one at a time. Next we have the multiple vendors if you want to create at once. Okay, then if a vendor is already created on PFMS, it cannot be recreated by you. You cannot create that vendor again. So in that case, if vendor is already existing in the system, then you have to map that vendor. So mapping a vendor one by one is from the manage option, and mapping of vendors, number of vendor one in one go, then bulk mapping of vendors. So how to do these things? Go to vendors, add new. The screen will appear. You can select the type of the vendor, the personal, usually selected for the employees, the commercial, institutional, any kind of vendors you can select. There is no hard and fast difference between all these vendors. You can select these type of vendors. Last two vendors, if you select the last two vendors, government official, impressed advance, and departmental officer, then the system will not ask you for the bank details. So only check can be issued to these kinds of vendors. Last two types of vendors, only check can be issued to these vendors. Other than these, if you select above 6, then the system will ask you for the bank details, and you can either issue check to them or make NEFT, e-payment, whatever mode you want. Okay, so you have to select the type of vendor and fill the details. All details are not mandatory. So what details are mandatory? Just click on select the blank page and click on save. The fields which are mandatory will be highlighted as required, so you can fill the minimum details if you don't want to file the complete details of a vendor. But it is recommended that mobile number should be entered, because on PFMS, if any vendor wants to see his payments on PFMS know your payment option, then the mobile number is mandatory to be registered on PFMS. Otherwise he'll not get any kind of OTP, because know your payment option is working only with the OTP. So if you will not register the mobile number of vendor, then OTP will not go to his mobile, and he'll not be able to see his payments. So you can register these vendors. Bank details are mandatory, so you have to select the bank name and account number. Click on add bank details and then click on save. So these bank details will go to the bank for validation, whether the account is valid or not. So if it is validated, then the bank will return the IFSC code against the bank account. So in this way, a vendor can be registered. So vendors are not scheme specific. Once created in your system, you can use it for any scheme, in any financial year. Even The vendors created in the current financial year will be can be used in previous financial years also. So vendors are not the time specific or the scheme specific. Then if you want to create a number of vendors one go, so you can use the Excel format. You can download the template, go to upload vendor data, download the template and fill this template. But there is some limitation in this bulk uploading, bulk creation of vendor. The limitation is like, if you have employees, number of employees in your bank, so more in every organization all the employees have their bank account in same bank, so in that case it is useful. But if you have to select different bank names again and again, that then it will be a problem. How? I'll just tell you. Okay, so these red fields are mandatory. Vendor name you have to enter, the address one you can enter, the city name, state name, whatever you want. The city again same can be entered, country India in caps. Then we have the bank, IFSC, account number. These all are marked in yellow, but these are mandatory fields. Email is also mandatory in this case, in bulk uploading of vendor. So there is a problem in the bank name and the city. What problem is? So I'll just show you on the screen. So uh, so you have to see all the bank name which are mentioned in the PFMS, because if you will enter like HDFC Bank Limited dot, then system will give an error. So for each bank name you have to check from this option, this PFMS homepage, this bank post office option, bank branch option. You have to see what in what sense the bank name is written in the PFMS master data. So if you will write HDFC Bank Limited, complete LIMITED, then also the PFMS will give error. So in bulk creation of vendor, if the bank name is same for all, then it will be okay to create a file. If everybody has a different bank name, then it is good to create vendors one by one instead of uploading the Excel file, because every time Excel file will give error. Then we have the location search detail also. So if you want to enter the city name, okay, so it's moved to a report OT69 search location. Now it's not available here. So if you will enter in city name, some spelling mistake, some dot or something like that, PFMS system will not accept. So you have to be very specific in this bulk creation of vendors, because these bank name, this city column, the country column will be validated with our master data. So if it is not matching with that master data, if there is some extra space or a dot or dash or some spelling mistake, so the system will not accept the entry. So uh, that would be much better if you will create vendors one by one. And if you upload this file, for example, you have uploaded the file for 50 vendors creation, and out of these 50 vendors, 10 vendors already exist in PFMS portal. So system will give error. You have to remove that 10 rows from this file and then again upload the file. So this is very cumbersome exercise to create number of vendors in a single go. So it is best to create one by one. I have told you this thing because many people ask, is there any option to create bulk vendors? So I have told you this option. There is an option to create number of vendor in a one go, but there is some limitation. Then we have the mapping of vendors. So if vendor already exists on PFMS system, so whenever you will want to create that vendor, system will give you an error that this vendor already exists with vendor code so and so. In that case, you have to go to vendors, masters, vendors, manage, In manage, you have to select the search criteria vendors not mapped with me. And then write the account number or vendor code in the unique code option and click on search. The vendor will appear here. It will take time because number of garbage vendors are created in this training server, so it is searching, the searching process is taking so much time. So yeah, error. Okay, in training server, error is usually occurs because training server is used for training and number of garbage vendors are all every time they are created. So you can search by the account number or by the unique code of the vendor. Click on search, vendor will appear, and then tick, a checkbox will also appear. Then tick on the checkbox and map the, click on map vendor. So in this way you can map number of vendors in a one go. Next we have, if you want to map number of vendors, you find that 10 to 15 vendors are already created in PFMS and you are not able to, if you go for single mapping, it will take time, system will take time. Then you, what you can do is bulk mapping of vendors. In bulk mapping of vendor also, you can download a template and enter the bank name, IFSC code and account number. So there is some bug in this Excel file. This vendor name and vendor code are not mandatory. These bank name, IFSC code and account number are mandatory fields. So bank name, IFSC code, account number you have to enter and then upload the file. Again, the limitation is same, bank name you have to search from the PFMS homepage. So for vendor creation, the best possible way for vendor creation and mapping is the add new option and manage option. All the other options are useless in my point of view. So yes, now we have created the vendors. Then during the scheme mapping, during the scheme registration, which I told you in the beginning, so during the scheme registration we have clicked on the option agency account scheme component mapping. So what the components are available in your scheme, you can see those components by going into my schemes, view scheme components, click on the scheme, and all the components which are created for your scheme will appear on the page. So you will come to know how much activities the program division or your funding organization has designed for you. If you need some more activities that should be created for your scheme, then you have to ask your funding organization, your ministry, to create those activities for you, because you cannot create any kind of activity in PFMS system. Only the ministry is authorized to create these components in PFMS. Agency cannot create the components, so only ministry can create these components if you need some more. After that, now we again go to expenditures, add new, select the scheme, select the bank account, your bank account in which your money is lying, then expenditure done for vendors, select the vendor, you can search the vendor name, it's not agency name, it's vendor name. In the live, it's the UAT, the trading server is, there is a mistake in this training server. So then letter office order number, this letter office order number should be unique for each and every voucher and for and also financial year wise. So it should be unique all over the India, because in our database every voucher is identified from this letter office order number. So it should be unique all over India, and it should be unique across the financial years. It should be unique for each and every voucher. So try using some abbreviation of your organization in the voucher number so that it can be unique all over India. Okay, then you can upload the letter office order number, sanction number if you want to, but this is not mandatory. The sanction date, the transaction date. The transaction date should lie within the login financial year. So if you have logged in 2021, then the actual transaction date can be of 2021 financial year, cannot be this 20th April 2021. So it should be within the login financial year in which you have logged in. Then you have to enter the voucher amount, the narration, select the scheme component for which you are making the payment. So whatever components will be created for the scheme, you can select accordingly. Next is expense type, whether you were revenue kind of expenditure you are making or capital type of expenditure you are making. No need to enter the percentage, just enter the amount of the component and click on add. So in a single voucher, you can select the multiple components, and then the save button will be highlighted. Click on save, and then you can move to the pay details. So I'll just make a expenditure voucher entry so that sanction date, amount, anything can write in narration, but special symbols cannot be used. Only dash and slash are allowed. Other than that, no special symbol is allowed in narration. Okay. uh, this this field I'm not mentioning here because this is a testing server also. So there are some changes going on in the system. The this agency scheme location, this part is the new development part. So I'm not explaining it here, but as this is merged with the UAT server, that's why it is showing it as a mandatory. So you can select the component again. You can select another component and enter the amount. So multiple components can be selected in a single voucher. Then you have to click on save. The voucher number will be generated. System will ask that do you want to proceed with pay details. You have to click on yes. Then pay details, the account number of the vendor name and amount will appear. Instrument type you have to select the check, DD, RTGS, ECS, or e-payment you want to use. So e-payment will be the live payment only. So if you are filing the post entries, the entries are already done by you from your own mode, and you are just filing these entries, showing these entries on PFMS, then you should not use the e-payment mode. And you can select the RTGS, ECS also. These are not the live payments. So I am selecting the RTGS mode. Click on add. Then all things will appear. Amount, RTGS amount you have to enter. Okay. Then system will ask, do you want to add the deduction details? If you have some kind of deductions, you can click on yes, click on next. Deduction type, I have selected randomly 200. I'm deducting number. Multiple deductions can also be added. So if I'll deduct 200, the 9865 amount is reduced to 9665. So in this way you can file the voucher, then click on confirm. The voucher is created, then submit for approval. Okay, save for submitted. The voucher is submitted. Now you can see the status of the voucher. Go to manage, select the scheme, The bank account, I don't know which bank account I have selected for making the entry. Okay, this one, fine. So its status is submitted. So the voucher which has status submitted can be approved by the approver. Sometimes usually people forgot to submit it for approval, so voucher status is created. So whenever a voucher status is created, it cannot be approved by the approver, so submission is required. So if now this voucher status is submitted, then okay. If it is created, then you have to click on the voucher and submit it. So in this way the voucher status should be submitted for approval. So after this submission, the agency data approver will go to the expenditure man, approve, the approve button. Instead of add new, he'll have a approve button. He'll click on approve, search the voucher, click on the voucher and approve it. An approve button will be available to him here. Along with back, approve button will appear and he will approve the voucher. So in this way an expenditure entry can be done. In the similar way, the advance entries and transfer entries can be done. Again, for advances, the add new option, exactly same kind of process flow is there for the advance entries, scheme, bank accounts, vendors. Then select the vendor, the transaction dates, each and every stepwise things are same for the expenditures and advances. That's why I showed you the expenditure entry in detail. Similarly, it is for transfer also. Transfer is applicable only in case when you are transferring funds to organizations down the line. So if you are making the payments to vendors, then expenditures and advances are only applicable. If there is a scheme hierarchy that that ministry is funding you in collaboration, the ministry has made a consortium of 5 to 6 institutes and giving fund to one institute, and one institute is asked to
लंबी पड़ी
uh,
है
provide fund to
त्याग
other
पड़ी कसं आहे ना
institute.
ऊपर आप
Please
पथरी
mute
पण
your
ऊपर
mic. Please mute your mic. So if your institute is getting funds from the ministry for whole consortium and you're asked to further provide fund to other organization, then this transfer option is exercised. In transfer option, you cannot select the vendor, but instead of a vendor you have to select the agency. So I just show you how to select the agency. So you can transfer bulk wise. Bulk wise is much better than component wise, because if you transfer the funds component wise, then there will be have a limitation on each and every activity, how much amount can be spent. So click on select agency. Oh, there is a system error. So when you click on select agency, the agencies which are mapped in the hierarchy will appear here. So I'll try a different scheme. Maybe that would work. Okay, there is a system error in selecting the agency. So in from select agency option, you can select your below level agency and fund that. So these three are the expenditure, advances and transfers. This expenditure advance is for single vendor, if voucher has a single vendor to make payment, then you can use this expenditure advance add new option. Otherwise, if in a single voucher you want to make payment to multiple vendors, for example, in case of salary, multiple employees has single bill. So in that case, you have to create the bulk customization. So bulk customization has two modes: bulk customization using Excel and manage. So if you are using the Excel mode, then e-payment only can be made. So if you are making the post entries, or you are just filing the previous entries, then you cannot use the Excel mode, bulk customization using Excel. You cannot use this mode. then you have to go for manage only. So if you are making the live payment, that means in May month, for example, in coming May month, you want to pay the salary directly from PFMS, the live payment you want to carry out, then you can use the bulk customization using Excel. So Excel mode is applicable only for the e-payment purpose, and for other modes than e-payment, for modes other than e-payment, manage option can be used for filing the voucher which has multiple vendors. So first I'll show you the manage option, the bulk customization manage. You have to select the scheme in which you want to create the customization. Then you have to select whether you want to initiate expenditure or advance. For example, I'm using the expenditure. Then click on vendors, select the vendors. Matlab, you cannot select randomly, you have to check. So select vendors like this. I am just selecting randomly. So then component wise, so you can select the component, or you can choose default component, and by selecting the default component you can select the component while the expenditure filing for each and every vendor separately. Okay, so then default amount you don't need to enter. Then check DD, RTGS, ECS. I have selected ECS. Okay, then click on save. Okay, customization name. So customization name, okay, what the error is, click on scheme component for selecting. Okay, it is scheme component. Okay, component 5 is also select. Now click on save. Already exists. Okay, record saved successfully. So after that, the customization which you have created will appear on the expenditure page in this way. In the right hand side, this customization will appear like this. You have to click on the customization. Vendors will get automatically selected. Letter, office order number. Okay. Vendors automatically selected. The component can be changed. Component amount, the revenue capital. Okay, first of all I have to write the complete amount here. Transaction date. Then 200 revenue. In this way you can do the entry. If you will select the revenue here, then revenue will be selected by default for each and every one. Okay, so you have to enter just the amount. Okay, in this way you can do this number of vendors will appear here. Then you will click on submit. After that it will ask for deduction and everything will go on like this. Okay, so in this way you can do the bulk portion. So this was the bulk option. When we go to the bulk customization manage, this is called PFMS UI bulk customization, user interface bulk customization. Second bulk customization will be Excel type. If you will create the Excel type of bulk customization, then also it will appear in the right hand side during the expenditure filing, and same process you can carry out. So one thing which you need for Excel based bulk customization is the vendor code. Okay, so first of all you should have the vendor codes, vendor unique codes for bulk customization using Excel. So how to get the vendor codes? Go to vendors manage. So either vendors are registered by you, vendors registered by me, or vendors mapped but registered by others. So in these two options, you can find the vendors which you can use for making the payments, and vendor unique code will appear in the column unique code. So you should have the vendor's unique code for creating the bulk customization using Excel. So this bulk customization can be used either for expenditure or advances. Transfers is not applicable to you for bulk customization purpose. So again, so first you have to download the template. So template will be bulk customization, e-payment. These two are under development. The below two other modes are under development. So these are not working in the live portion. So bulk customization, e-payment. Uh, yeah, download template. The vendor code I have shown you, you should have to write in receiving party code. That means vendor code. This is vendor name. This is transaction code. This transaction code you can get from the transaction code master. Whenever you download a template, a transaction code master is downloaded in third sheet. Transaction code master, you can see the various transaction codes for making the transactions. So there is a Y or N written here. So if you filter out, so you get some N type of code, that is GP, which is very much used. Other codes are not used. So GP is the cross payment. So when you are filing the transactions, I'm just making a dummy entry. Okay, the name is XYZ. I'll take transaction code is GP. Transaction key you can left it blank. Component code I take it as B, salary. Component code is this one. Use scheme component. Select the scheme. The alphanumeric written in the square bracket. So here is only alphabet. Sometimes there is alphanumeric, sometimes there is a numeric. So whatever written against the component in square bracket is the component code. So for salary it's B, for journal it's C, and for capital it's A. So I'm using for salary it's B. So expense type will be revenue. Amount, for example, is 2000. Remarks you can left it blank. Action type should be A. Account number of the vendor. Payment method and narration for passbook you can left it blank. Okay, then click on enter. Receiving party code again, sorry, again XYZ. Now if you want to deduct the TDS, so what is the code master for TDS? This TDS. Okay, component code, expense type will be blank. TDS 200. Action type A 1 2 3 4 5 6. So in this way you can create a bulk customization for salary or for anything else. If number of vendors you want to make payment. So For each transaction code, you have to fill the column number A, B, G, I, and J. A, B, G, I, J. These columns are mandatorily to be filled for each and every transaction code. Component code and expense type should be filled only if transaction code is GP or N type transaction code. Other than GP, if you are using other these, I think, which are not very much useful. So if you are using other than these N type of transaction codes, then only these component code and expense type should be filled, otherwise it should not be filled. So in this way you can create a voucher, in this way you can create a bulk customization. And after creation of customization, you have to upload this customization on this page, masters, bulk customization using Excel. Okay, it's log out. So select the scheme. 1270 template which you are uploading, customization name, expenditures, vendors, self, bank account. Okay, whether you will use the print advice or digital signature mode, I have to select, then choose the file and upload it. You will get the file uploaded here, and after some time, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, the upload history will refresh and you will get either validation error, configuration error, or the successfully completed. In case of validation error, you can download the error file and can correct the errors. In case of configuration error, you cannot download the error file. So in case of configuration error, the error can be extra spaces in amount, any because this amount should be in whole number. It cannot be an integer, it cannot be a decimal thing. So it can be only whole number. Account number, it should not be the alphanumeric or any special symbol. If you are using in party name any special symbol or dot or extra space, so all these things create the configuration error. Okay, then you can again upload the file and can get it successfully completed. After successfully completed, when you will go for expenditure add new, it will appear in the right hand side, just like the earlier one. This will also appear in right hand side. Okay, so in this way the expenditure advances can be carried out. In advances, you have to make the advance settlements. So for advance settlements, go to advances, advance settlements. Select the scheme. Okay, okay, so the vouchers which are in approved status can only be settled. So select the voucher which you want to settle at the operator level. Okay, I don't know why error is opening or coming again and again. So these customizations are also created at the operator level. This advanced settlement is also initiated at the operator level, and then you have to go to approver level for approving the settlement. So I think I have to change the browser. Sometimes there is an error in Google Chrome using PFMS. So then you can try the Mozilla Firefox. Reports also work fine in Mozilla Firefox. So you can shift the browser. I think it's creating some kind of trouble. After this advanced settlement, I'll explain you some small, very small petty transactions, and then I'll show you the functions of the administrator, the agency administrator functionalities, which agency administrator can carry out, and then we'll move to how to retrieve logins, IDs and passwords if anyone forgets that and unable to track trace. So how to get those, so I'll tell you. So we start from the advance settlement. So for settling the advance, you have to go to that financial year in which the advance was created. Select the advance voucher. Again, error it's happening. I don't know why error is coming. Okay, so error is coming on the this training server. Maybe some loading is going on this server. That's why transactional error is coming. So click on add new settlement. This page will open. It will show everything regarding the voucher. Click on add new settlement, and then you can proceed further. Okay. Okay, we will check again after the training if it start working again. Then we have some small transactions. First is bank charges. If bank is charging you for any kind of NEFT, RTGS payment or the check DD payments, if anything is charged to you for the scheme payments, then you can enter the bank charges in the PFMS portal. Again, agency data operator will enter the bank charges and approver will approve the bank charges. Select the scheme, the bank account number, the transaction, the reason can be any, and then transaction date on which the bank has charged you something. Debit, of course, bank is charging, so be a debit, because credit would be interest and you can enter it in interest. The debit, the amount, how much bank has charged to you, and then click on save. So in this way, bank charges can be entered. Next, we have the issue of bank mergers, because as we have seen, many banks are getting merged. So in that case, just for example, Syndicate Bank is merged in Canara Bank. Okay, so all the agencies which had the Syndicate Bank account were unable to see their bank account on PFMS portal. So to carry out any kind of receipt or payment transaction, they need the bank account configured on PFMS. So in case of that, in case of bank merger, so from admin login, you have to register the scheme, which I have shown you in the first page, scheme registration. Okay, so if the case of bank merger happens to you, so what you have to do is register the same bank account in the same scheme again, but now the bank name will be changed. So if you had the Syndicate Bank account now which is merged in the Canara Bank, then you have to register the same bank account in the same scheme which you were using, but the bank name will be Canara Bank instead of the Syndicate Bank. So you have to carry out this register new scheme option. So from the administrator level, my schemes, register new scheme, and then enter the scheme name, the bank details. Now the bank name will be changed to the new one. So new bank name, and this entry will go to the bank for validation purpose. Bank will return the IFSC code, the new IFSC code against your bank account, and then your funding organization will approve this bank account. So what after that? So the amount, the available balance which was lying with your old bank account is automatically merged by your bank in your new bank account, because only the bank name is changed. Other things are the same. Bank name and IFSC is changed, but your account number is same and your account is same also. So at the bank level, there is no change in this thing. Okay, but at the level of PFMS, we have some different kind of scenario. That means whenever a bank account is linked with a scheme, a code is generated in PFMS. Okay, so whatever transactions you carry out, whatever balance is lying with you on PFMS is linked to that code. Okay, so if in case of bank merger, as you have to make a new registration of your bank, a new code will be generated. So the balance amount has to be shifted from the old code to new code. So in that case, you have to do the interbank transfer entry. Okay, have to do the interbank transfer entry again from the operator level, and then approver level you will approve this entry. So bank interbank transfer, add new income bank interbank transfer. When you click on okay, of course you have to select the scheme. Okay, then click on bank merger. So in left hand side, the account number which is merged, the syndicate. So I'm taking the example of Syndicate and Canara Bank. Then Syndicate Bank account will appear in the left hand side. You have to select the Syndicate Bank account. In right hand side, you have to the Canara Bank account. Canara Bank account will automatically appear, and then the balance available with Syndicate Bank account in PFMS will appear. You have to transfer the whole amount from the old bank details to the new bank details in PFMS. In this case, actual transaction will not happen in the bank, but just shifting of balance in PFMS from old code to new code. Okay, so this you have to do if in case the bank merger happens to you also. Okay, So next we have the miscellaneous deduction filing. Miscellaneous deduction, managed deduction. So whatever deductions you will carry out during the expenditure filing or the advance filing, whatever deductions you have carried out will appear here, and you move that deduction from the system. Okay, move out from the system. So select the scheme, the deduction type. I don't know which all deductions are added in this. Okay, accommodation recovery, file select, then search. Just a minute. Oh, okay. So you have to click on search. I think in this system, in this login, there is no deduction in case of this income tax. I select. Okay, I'm unable to show you the actual transaction, but you can view like this. So select the deduction type, click on search, all the deductions which you have carried out will appear, and then click on add deduction. After clicking on add deduction, system will ask you the transaction type and the instrument number, instrument type and instrument number by which you have submitted this deduction to the organization to which it means. So in case of TDS, that you are submitting it to CBTT, so the system will ask you the instrument type and number. It can be check or the RTGS. So it will ask the RTGS number or check number, whatever mode you have paid to the CBTT. So in this way you can do this miscellaneous deduction filing, move these deductions to the from the system to out. But this will not affect any kind of balances in your system. So it will not affect the balance, because when you have booked the voucher, the gross amount is already deducted from your scheme balance. So in this case, the system will not reduce your balance. And if you will not do this miscellaneous deduction filing, system will not affect you in any way. So but a new development is being carried out. So in that case, you can actually move these deductions to the CBDT or any organization for which it meant in live. So the changes are going on, and whenever a change will be done, it will be shown in the add new section of this PFMS. So on home page, we have what's new section. So many changes are going on in this PFMS each module. So whenever a change will be done, so it will appear as a manual in what's new section. So you can check every time in what's new what all changes has been done in PFMS. And case. So in My Scheme Manage, there is one more option, My Scheme Manage. You can see all these schemes mapped with your organization, and for with each and every scheme which bank account is mapped. So you can check from this My Schemes Manage that how many schemes are configured with you and which bank account is configured with which scheme, whether the bank status is approved or not. Means bank status tick means approved, validated, and whether the scheme is approved by your funding organization or not, this can be checked by you in My Schemes Manage. And after that, you can check your profile from user my profile, and you can edit your mobile number. Okay, access is denied. I think change is going on. So sorry, my accounts. Many changes are going on and it is not live yet, so I'm unable to check which field is working. So the changing of mobile number and the email ID can be done by the data operator also and the administrator. So now I'll show you the functioning of administrator. So my details, no, enable, yeah, masters, users, manage. So all the users created by the administrator can be managed by the administrator. For example, this agency do type user, the administrator can disable the user, can edit the user. Editing means all the fields, first name, last name, email, mobile, phone number, and can do this thing. Okay, so whenever the employee of your organization gets changed, so every time you don't need to create a new login. The details can be changed by the administrator, and accordingly, the passwords are getting, or password will get modified. The ID will remain same, the password will get modified. And reset password, from the reset password, if data operator or approver forgets its password, then from the reset password option, the password, the new password, system generated new password can be sent to the this email ID of the data operator or approver. So in this way, the system can regenerate the passwords for operator and for approver. For administrator itself, it can go to my profile and then edit, and it can edit its own profile. Okay, it can the administrator can edit its own profile, the mobile number, the phone number, the email ID, and it is very much recommended that it should be correct, because anytime you forget that password or anything, then it can be retrieved using the email ID and the mobile number. Okay, so then you can also edit your agency profile, means your organization profile. uh, oh, again not working here. So if you want to edit the your own agency profile, then the option, your agency organization will appear here, and then you can click and edit its contact details. And program division of the ministry or your funding organization can also edit your details. Okay, and then we have, yeah, one more thing, deactivate your scheme bank account. If you want, you have closed one account and you want to deactivate that account, then you can do this deactivation exercise in PFMS also. So go to my schemes, deactivate scheme bank account. This exercise is done at the level of agency administrator. Select the scheme, click on search. All the accounts linked with the scheme will appear, and you can click on the account number which you want to deactivate, and then click on submit. So deactivation request will be generated, and then it will be approved by your ministry or the funding organization. Okay, so the account number which have zero balance in PFMS can only be deactivated if they have some kind of balance. Then you have to transfer that from one account to another account in PFMS, then only you can deactivate that account. And transferring money from one account to another is from the interbank transfer option. Okay, so in case of bank merger, you have to click on the checkbox of bank merger. In other cases, you need not to click on bank merger tick box, and you can transfer amount within the same scheme from one account to another, across these schemes also, from one scheme to another if it is required, from interbank transfer option. But in that case, actual transfer will not happen in the bank. It will be a notional transfer in PFMS only. Okay. So in this way, the administrator works, and then it has some more activities to carry out. The administrator, the bank activities, that is the account activation e-payment. Sorry, account activation e-payment. If you want to use the e-payment mode, whether it's print advice or DSC, digital signature certificate, then you have to activate your bank account for e-payment. Okay, so from this option, bank activate account activation e-payment, select the scheme, click on search. All the account numbers mapped with the scheme will appear. Tick on the checkbox of the account number which you want to activate for e-payment. Then select the activation type, the e-payment using print advice or e-payment using DSC. Both options will appear here. As these accounts are already activated, that's why the option is not appearing. Select the option, click on submit. Then the account is activated in PFMS for e-payment, and you can carry out the e-payment using print advice or digital signature certificate. So difference between print advice and the digital signature certificate: e-payment is used for live payment. Whenever you will generate a e-payment voucher, the bank will carry out the actual transaction immediately. In print advice, you have to take a printout of the advice, sign it, and submit it to bank. In case of DSC, the advice is digitally signed. So if you will generate the print advice and will not submit to bank, then bank will not carry out the actual transaction. After 10 to 15 days, bank will send you the failure of the advice, and the amount will be credited back to your PFMS account. Okay. So in this way, this print advice works. Last is the UC, utilization certificate. Go to utilization certificate, add new UC. It is recommended that the utilization certificate should be generated at the level of administrator. The operator and approver can also generate the utilization certificates, but it is recommended that administrator should generate the utilization certificate. So click on add new UC. The filing of UC and filing of expenditure advances and transfers are two separate things. These are not linked with each other. So whether you have filed expenditure in PFMS or not, you can still generate the UC. And if you have filed more expenditure and you want to generate UC for the less utilized amount, then also it can happen. So these two things are not linked with each other. You have to select the scheme. Then the financial year in which the grant was received to you. Okay, here some sanctions are appearing. So select the financial year in which grant was received to you. Then click on the sanction for which you want to generate the UC. Opening balance will be automatically adjusted. How? Click here to adjust previous year amount. As there is no previous year amount, the link is not clickable. If there is previous year UC amount pending with you for this particular scheme, then this link will be clickable and you can adjust the previous UC pending amount as opening balance. Then you have to enter the interest portion if you have earned any, then utilized amount if you have surrendered anything, and then ESIR. ESIR means extra जो आपने एक्सपेंडिचर कैरी आउट किया है फ्रॉम योर इंटरनल रिसोर्सेज. इफ यू हैव कैरिड आउट फ्रॉम internal resources, that means for which you want a reimbursement from the ministry, so you have to enter the amount here. Then click on add. After adding, all the details will appear here. Okay, I just try to utilize the amount. Okay, and then I'm clicking on add. So this UC is added here. The sanction amount was so and so, and utilized amount was so and so. Left, this one amount is left, and remarks, you can do anything, but you should not use the special symbol. And the grant in a journal, salary or capital, whichever activity you have carried out. I'm saying I have carried out the grant in aid salary portion. Salary and capital creation is applicable only for the autonomous organization. So for you, it's general only. And then click on submit. Okay, after submitting, a UC is generated. And UC ID will be shown to you. Okay. And after that, you have to go to this utilization certificate, generate, upload, generate 12A, select the UC ID, generate 12A. The 12A will be generated. You can do two things. You can take a print out of the UC, sign it, and upload again, or you can digitally sign this GFR 12A. So after these things, then you have to go to utilization certificate, approve UC. Okay, then you have to approve the UC. Okay, click on the UC because these all UCs are already approved. Okay, no pending for approval. So you have to select the UC and then approve it. Okay, click on approve. So in this way, UC can be approved. UC can be filed and approved. It should be done from the administrator login. This is not necessary. So I think from my side, I'm done. Last thing, I want to show how to retrieve password if you have forgot that. What you can do is click on this login. You can go to forget password link. If you have login ID with you, or you know that which email is registered with your agency or your login ID, which email is linked, you can use the email link also, word verification, and continue. Okay. Second option is to retrieve password is with unique agency code, by your unique agency code. As you are an agency, so every agency has its unique agency code. So how to get this unique agency code, how to know this unique agency code, go to, sorry, agency manage. From agency manage also you can see the unique agency code. If you have not logged in into system even once, then also you can know your unique agency code. How? Go from the PFMS home page, go to manage registered agency. Okay, and enter your account number in which you got the fund from through PFMS. Enter the account number and click on search. I'll search an agency, not using the account number because I don't know. Just a minute. Click on search. So enter your account number and then click on search. Your agency details will appear here. I'm searching it right. So the agency detail will appear like this, and you can see your unique code. In the third column, you can see the unique code of your organization. Okay. So in this way, you can get the unique code of your organization. And after getting the unique code of your organization, you can retrieve your password. Get password by unique agency code. Enter the unique agency code, the email ID registered with your agency, the word verification, and click on submit. Login ID will appear and an OTP will go on the registered OTP will go on the registered email ID and the mobile number. And after entering that OTP, you can retrieve your password. Okay. So what if you have if a wrong email ID or wrong mobile number is registered and you are unable to get the OTP on your email ID and mobile number because the correct one are not registered with your organization? Then in that case, what you have to do is you have to contact your funding organization. They have the authority to change your email ID and mobile number against your agency. So they can modify it, and after that you can get your password retrieved. If there are some cases in which the funding organizations are not able to change anything, then you have to contact our PFMS headquarters. From our level, we reset the passwords and the email IDs and mobile numbers. We just change the email IDs and mobile number, and then you can retrieve the passwords. Okay. So these are 3-4 options from which you can get your password. From the forward password option, from get password details by unique agency code, by resetting your email ID and mobile number by your funding organization. And last, if you are not able to do anything, just contact our PFMS headquarters. We help you. So these are all details of this PFMS. So I think we are in time. Now I can explain some reports, but before explaining some reports, I want that you can ask some questions. We can take a 10 minutes break. I have to drink some water. So we can take a 10 minutes break, and after that at 12 o'clock, we'll start the session again, and you can ask your questions, your doubts, specific queries.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. As you said, we will take 10 minutes break for now, and I request there are already questions on the chat box. From there, I request our participants to put their questions on the chat box, and we'll come and discuss about it.
We have questions in I've seen the questions, a few questions that presentation some people want over email, so I'll send you email, send an email to ISBA, and they will further share with all the participants, I guess.
Sure.
Next the question is how to add a foreign bank. So the foreign banks are not integrated with PFMS. So the vendor details or the agency details, whichever you are entering a bank accounts details. So every bank details which you enter on PFMS is get validated on PFMS by the bank. So bank has integration with the PFMS. So whenever a bank detail is registered on PFMS, it goes to the bank for validation. So we don't have any integration with foreign banks. So foreign bank vendors cannot be added on PFMS. In that case, you have to make a vendor of check type, which I have shown you the last two types of vendor, departmental officer or government official interest advance. These two type of vendors you can create, issue a check, okay, and then you can create the bank as a vendor and issue a check in the name of bank and submit it to bank along with the manual advice to make a foreign payment in the foreign bank. So directly foreign bank payments cannot happen through PFMS. You cannot add a foreign bank vendor on PFMS. PFMS was trying to integrate the foreign banks with PFMS, but foreign banks are still not coming on board with the and not collaborating with PFMS. So in few years also, in future few years also, we don't have any scenario to integrate the banks, the foreign banks with PFMS, because the banks are not interested. So you have to issue a check in the name of bank and then submit it to bank, whichever mode right now you are using. Same way you have to use in PFMS also. So you cannot add a foreign bank vendor. Okay. Next we have question like, at the start of a financial year we have no fund balance, and later maybe in the middle of financial year we are getting from ministry. So if at the start of financial year, if you have no fund, then you don't need to enter any opening balance. Whatever fund you are getting directly from the ministry, that fund can be directly received from the option my funds received from central government. So the funds which you are getting directly from the ministry need not to be entered in PFMS in opening balance or any other option. You can directly receive that fund from agency administrator level, go to my funds, receive from central government. The sanction issued by the ministry will appear there, and click on the sanction and receive the funds. So in this way you can receive the funds. You don't need to enter the opening balance. Okay. Next question is, can you please tell the transaction date range? So the transaction date range will be the login financial year. In each module, PFMS has the option to log in into previous financial years and clear the backlog entries in PFMS. Okay, so you can log in 18-19. Prior to that, you don't need to file EAT entries because reports are starting from the 18-19 financial year onwards. Okay, prior to that, we are not focusing on the EAT transactions. So from 18-19, you can log in into 18-19, and the transaction date should be within the login financial year. Okay. Next, we have the question, how to process salaries through PFMS. As I have told, the salaries can be processed using the bulk customization mode. If you are making direct payment through PFMS, then you can use the Excel mode of bulk customization. But if you have already paid the salary and you are just making the entry in PFMS, then you have to use the bulk customization manage option, the PFMS UI customization, in which you can select the check mode also. Okay. Next question we have, when we make the interbank transfer, amount will be transferred in PFMS only. Yes, it is transferred in PFMS only. If we because interbank transfer from one account to another, the e-payment mode is currently not in use. Okay, generally it is not used. So usually we recommend that the transfer from the amount transfer from one account to another should be carried out separately with your bank if actually transfer is happening, and PFMS should be used for notional entry only for current scenario. So you can write the mode as RTGS, ECS, and write just a number there, and it will be a notional transfer only. Okay. How to update the bank details from for existing scheme? The bank details can be updated using the register new scheme option from the admin level. Go to my schemes, register new scheme, enter the same scheme names but the updated bank details, and click on submit. the details will go to bank for validation, automatically go to bank for validation, and then your funding organization, either ministry or your parent organization from whom you are getting the funds, will approve that details. So you can use the updated bank details. Okay. Can we make changes in UC amounts after we provide data in PFMS and once submitted and approved by PFMS? Yeah, sure. Once you have submitted and approved the UC, it will go to the ministry, the program division of the ministry. Program division of ministry can reject the UC, then it will come again to you and you can make changes in the UC. Okay. But the UC module is getting changed. We are designing a new UC module. But current scenario, if you have submitted the UC and not approved the UC, still you cannot make any changes in UC. So it will go to program division. You should ask the ministry, the program division or the ministry. They will reject the UC, then you can make changes in the UC. Okay. But if program division has approved the UC, then you cannot make any changes. Okay. Then next question is, can we make changes in UC? Same question is repeated again. After training, can you please send the video recording? I think this question is from to ISBA. Please provide this recording. Is there assistance contact number we can contact at the time of operation? Yeah, sure. I'll share my number. You can note it down. I have no issue if you people will call me in case of any issue. So just have my number and you can call me. We are not able to create vendors. We are having only option to revalidate the existing accounts, log into current financial year to create the vendors. So to create the vendors, you have to log into current financial year. After creation of vendor, these vendors can be used in the previous financial years. Okay, so creation of vendor menu is only visible in the current financial year at the data operator level and the administrator level, but it is recommended that data operator level should create the vendors. Okay. If we have no balance fund for a specific component, and how to account it? See, in PFMS, when ministry is transferring you the fund, it is not transferring you the component wise. Okay, it is transferring you fund in a scheme. So the total balance available with you can be used in any component. So the amount left with you is not specific to the component if you are getting fund from the ministry. So it can be used in any component, of course, with consultation to the ministry to get it approved, because the approved sanction they have sent to you, if it has a mention of something else and you are doing on PFMS something else, because ministry can view the component wise report also, and every reporting is visible to you. So whatever changes you want to make, you can change in the system, but with consultation to ministry, of course. Okay. If any employee spend expenditure on behalf, okay, and claims reimbursement, okay, will that employee be considered as vendor? Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. That employee will be considered as vendor. Employee purchase from Amazon by an employee. So employee has paid the amount now. So you have to pay to the employee. So employee will be the vendor, not the Amazon. Can we just utilize the capex amount with opex if we have not received opex in any financial year? See, this capex and opex bifurcation is not available in PFMS. Okay, so PFMS has the bifurcation of only scheme. So if within the same scheme you are getting two kinds of funds, the capital and the operational expenses, so these two funds are merged in the PFMS. These two funds will appear combined in PFMS. So you can use that fund. PFMS has no objection in that, but you have to consult with your ministry, because this is a policy decision kind of thing. Okay, So you have to check with your ministry that operational expenses fund you have not received yet and capital expenditure fund is available to you. So whether you can use that fund or not. So you have to ask your ministry. This is a policy matter. But in PFMS has no objection with that. Okay, again recorded video kind of thing. If we utilize the okay, come there, question. Okay, if we utilize the capex to opex, how do we have to show that in UC while submitting in PFMS? What you have to do is UC is generated sanction wise. Okay, so against each sanction, how much amount you have utilized, you have to show that. If across these sanctions you are adjusting the amount, then there is option of EFIR, expenditure done from internal resources, that you can adjust in the next section, but it should be within the same scheme. Across the schemes you cannot adjust the amount like this. Okay, so if it is within the same scheme, if some extra expenditure you are doing against the sanction, for example you have received a sanction of 10,000 rupees and you are spending rupees 11,000, so 1,000 you should enter in EFIR option, and next time when the reimbursement is made by the ministry, it will be made against a sanction. In that reimbursement sanction you can adjust that 1,000 rupees as opening balance minus 1,000 rupees as opening balance, and you can adjust the next sanction using. Okay, in this way you can adjust in the using. But if we had no balance left in the scheme, okay, can we take loan from the other schemes until we don't got the funds? See, loan can be initiated in PFMS. It is just a notional entry. Whether you are buying money from other scheme or from your own corpus or from some other institute, the loan entry is just a notional entry. You just make the entry of loan in PFMS and carry out the transactions. The bank account may be containing the other scheme money that will be debited by the bank, because in bank account there is no bifurcation of the scheme money. Okay, so loan is a notional entry and you can carry out an entry of loan, and whenever you get reimbursement, refund the loan. You don't need to show from which scheme you are buying, from which organization you are buying. You can write in narration or remarks just to show that you have taken a loan to carry out the functioning of the scheme. Okay. I want to know about PFMS portal, what kind of information required to update in the same. While enter to or update a transaction on portal, and if any queries that is there that time, can anyone guide? If possible, please share contact number. I have shared my contact number. Sorry, Mr. Sandeep, I am unable to understand your question. I'm not getting what you want to ask. Please ask verbally. Mr. Sandeep Kolapkar, please ask verbally.
Mr. Sandeep, you could unmute and ask a question to her.
Okay, till the time Mr. Sandeep asks. Yeah,
Hello.
yeah, please.
I want to know exact what is what information required to update on PFMS portal. What is exact PFMS portal? What type of information we have to update in that portal?
See, PFMS portal is meant for recording all the transactions you are carrying out for the scheme. That means you are implementing a Government of India scheme. You are carrying out some activities to implement a Government of India scheme. You are helping Government of India. So whatever transactions you are carrying out for implementation of that scheme, that should be shown on PFMS. So this is the only information which is required to be furnished to PFMS for that particular scheme, because Government of India and the top management wants to know what all activities the organizations are carrying out for the implementation of schemes, whether these activities are correct, whether these activities are correct in time, just in time, and all these information is required by the top management and our government of India people. So this all needs to be shown on PFMS. Mr. Sandeep, your question is answered, or anything else you want to know?
Okay, ma'am.
Right, ma'am.
Yeah.
Actually, we have to edit the agency profile, ma'am. In agency type, no. Already they have registered. Actually, there's a wrong error is there, ma'am. But we cannot able to edit that portion, ma'am. Agency type.
Agency type. Okay.
In agency profile.
Okay. Go to agency. Log into agency administrator. Go to agency.
Yes, ma'am.
Manage.
Yes, ma'am.
Edit.
But something are enabled, ma'am. But most of the things are not enabled, ma'am.
Okay. Type of agency is not enabled. Type of agency are unable to modify.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, in bracket we have wrongly before, ma'am. Actually, that is entered before 7 years back, ma'am.
Okay.
Government autonomous bodies, ma'am. Actually, we have to change that one. Registered society is okay, but in bracket that is mentioned as a government autonomous bodies, ma'am.
So you want to change this to NGO,
yes,
non-government organization.
Yes, ma'am.
So you are unable to modify it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in that case, you have to contact your ministry. Just send an email to ministry along with your letter. They will change the type.
Yes, ma'am.
If they will find any trouble, there is some log or something. So PFMS, they will contact PFMS and PFMS will change it.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes some organization got logged in the 2-3 years back. Some organization profiles were logged. So maybe that case that's why you are not able to change.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. We will contact through mail. Yes, ma'am. Right.
Yeah, contact through mail to the ministry. They will definitely be able to change it. If they are not able to, then you can contact us.
Okay. Ma'am, one more query, ma'am, actually.
Yeah.
Ma'am, we are providing an advance to the beneficiary, ma'am.
Okay.
And the beneficiary is submitting as a bills as an expenditure. For example, idea owners, we are transferring money to the idea owners, ma'am.
Okay.
They are submitting as a advance as a bill expenditure.
Okay.
That we have to submit in the expenditure settlement portal or
advance settlement. First you initiate the advance and then you make the settlement.
Both entry we have to enter, ma'am. Expenditure also enter and advance.
No, not expenditure. First you will enter the advance, and then whenever you will get a settlement voucher as expenditure, you go to advance settlement.
Yes, ma'am.
The advance you have initiated will be shown, and then click on that advance and settle that advance as expenditure.
Okay, but first we have to settle the advance settlement, and then we have to post on the expenditure also. After
No. Only advance settlement
is enough, ma'am.
Yeah. That you have initiated advance of 5,000 rupees. If they are giving settlement of 5,000, then it's okay. You don't need.
That is an expenditure is also okay. In case of
yeah.
Advance
settlement means expenditure. Advance settlement means expenditure. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. In case of money also, if somebody are reimbursing money, that is not the reason.
Refund. Because in advance settlement, actually the portal was not working right now. So in case of advance settlement, we have two options, whether the amount was expenditure or the refund. So you can enter how much amount is expenditure and how much amount is refund. Okay.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thanks, ma'am.
So next question in chat box is how can we check the balance amount and total expenditure entered in PFMS? Can we import in Excel? Yeah, sure. You can import in Excel. Whenever you'll go to expenditure manage, you can see all the entries and can export to Excel. Advances also, when in manage option, there is an option for export to Excel. Whichever transactions you have carried out, you can export to Excel. Also, we have a report called EAT02 report, from which you can see all your EAT module data in a single row. So EAT02 report, I'll explain after all these questions answer sessions, because why I'm doing this, so that I will be able to know how much you have understood about the PFMS, because the EAT02 report is a very exhaustive report, very the complete EAT whole EAT module is combined in a report. So it can only be understood if you will understand the each module. So from the questions and all, I'll be able to get a view, a picture that how much you have understood about the each module, and then I'll explain the EAT02 report to check the balances, expenditures, and the Excel sheets. Next we have, I'm not able to select view my project title after selecting. The projects are applicable only for few schemes. The projects can be seen only when the ministry has initiated the projects. So if ministry has initiated the projects and you are getting a drop down in project menu, some projects are appearing and some are not, then you have to contact your ministry that please add my project in the project menu, because only the ministry has power to add the project. If project field is completely blank, that means ministry has not initiated the project, and you have to carry out all the transactions in the scheme only. No need to select the project.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I have one more query, ma'am.
Yeah, please.
Actually, if the PA have a travel expenses he spends, then he want to get reimbursement from the project. So can he select as a self, or he has to select the vendor and he has to include his beneficiary?
What self means? Self means the organization, not the individual. Okay. Self means the organization. If the chief of the organization is also getting something, then he should also be a vendor. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. So then, if the expenses made by the PA, if the expenses made by the PA, then he has to enter into the vendor.
PE, what PE?
PA. Sorry, principal investigator.
Okay.
Spends some travel expenses during a meeting.
Yeah, travel expenses is from his personal account. So you are reimbursing the fund in his personal bank account. So if personal bank account is involved, then he should be treated as vendor. Okay. Self means if you are withdrawing some cash amount from the institute bank account, if you are withdrawing some cash amount for petty expenses, then only self option should be used. Other than that, if you are crediting any amount to a personal bank account, then it should be treated as a vendor payment. Okay.
Thank you.
Ma'am, hello.
Yeah, please.
Madam, you are using training server, actually dummy portal, no?
Yeah.
Can we also use, ma'am? Actually, it is enabled.
Yeah, sure. I'll share the IP address of the training server and the login IDs and passwords of the training server which I was using.
It's enabled for throughout the year, ma'am, or particular?
Yeah, throughout here. Sometimes it gets down when some updating is happening.
Okay, ma'am.
Otherwise, it's working whole year.
Okay, ma'am. Actually, that is important, ma'am. Actually, we have to sit as a team, and hands-on training is required for that purpose only. We are asking, ma'am.
Okay. I'll definitely share. One more thing I want to share with you all participants, that do not afraid from PFMS entries, because PFMS each module is a very flexible each module. If you will make any kind of mistake, do not use e-payment mode until you are very much practiced in PFMS, very much familiar with PFMS, and unless you are familiar completely with PFMS, do not use e-payment mode. Other than that, if you are making any kind of entry, if you have made some mistake also, PFMS is an option of correction. So do not get afraid of PFMS. Okay. So please feel free to use PFMS, because every wrong entry has the option of reversals. Any transaction entry, expenditure, advance, transfer, receipts entry, if you are making any wrong entry, it can be reversed also. Okay. So do not get afraid from this PFMS entries.
Okay, ma'am. Thanks.
Next, we have the question: without submitting any expenditure and revenue, can we submit only UC? Yeah, sure. UC can be submitted. UC has no relation with expenditure filing or receipt taken. You can submit the UC only, but you should ask ministry whether you have to file the entries or not, because it's call of the ministry only. This is a policy decision kind of thing. We are facing a problem in submitting UC due to negative OPEX, closing funds, balance, as we have not received fund, and can we submit this by using EFIR option? Please advise. So if you have no negative opening balance for a sanction and you have not received a sanction, how you will file a UC? Because UC is filed against the sanction. So if you have no fund and nothing is received, you will not be able to file a UC. So if you have a sanction and against which you have made an over expense, then you can use the EFIR option. But if you have not received a sanction, then UC cannot be filed, because UC is sanction wise. EFIR not seen in GFR 12A. How to show that? In 12A, in below wordings, EFIR amount is mentioned somewhere, and as you are submitting the online UC, it will be appearing at the level of the program division. So do not bother about this 12A. Also, if you are taking the printout and then signing and uploading that 12A, you can mention some remarks or anything in the 12A. Okay. How to change the data administrator? Okay, if you want to change the data administrator, see, all the participants, please note it down. The data administrator is very sensitive login. Okay, never share the login ID or password of data administrator with anyone. If even PFMS help desk team asks you for data administrator login ID, then it's okay. But password you should not share, because it's very sensitive. If you have given your login ID and password of data administrator to anyone, then he can do a live transaction from your bank account. Please make sure of that. Okay. So data administrator should not be changed, because whatever logins you have created from the data administrator, whatever powers he has exercised, so if you will change the data administrator, then it can be a trouble for you. So what you can do is, whenever an officer get transferred from your organization, because data administrator lies with the higher authority of your organization. So whenever the person gets transferred or changed for any reason, you can do one thing: change the profile of the data administrator, the name, designation, email ID, mobile number, everything, and change the password. No need to change the data administrator. Data operators, approvers, everybody can be changed, but please do not change the data administrator, because it is the most important login of any agency. So whenever officer is getting transferred, who was exercising the data administrator role, so along with the NOC, which for all other things you are providing to that officer, please provide a NOC of the data administrator login and password also. Okay. One more question is there. If we have foreign vendor, so for foreign vendor, you cannot add a vendor in PFMS, because it cannot be validated. So for that, you have to write a check in the name of bank and then submit it to bank for making the foreign payment. After submitting for reversal, after reversal approval, there will be an edit option or new entry again. New entry again. If you have reversed the voucher and reversal is approved, then you cannot edit the voucher. You can enter a new voucher. Please share a screen. I'm not sharing any screens. I'm just answering the questions. If a travel expense done by PI, I think I have answered that. How to enter institute contribution in PFMS? So if institute is contributing to the scheme, if institute is contributing some percentage of amount in a scheme, then you can add it as a income from other sources, grant in aid, or fund type can be grant in aid or donor, and then you can use the fund. So if any extra fund, if institute is contributing or someone is donating or some extra proceeds you are getting for this scheme, you can enter it in income from other sources. Okay. Is it mandatory to record each transaction is in PFMS for implementing the scheme, or it is fine if you upload? See, as the letter from Ministry of Finance, as per the PFMS guidelines, you have to enter each and every transaction which you are carrying out for the scheme in PFMS. So PFMS should record all the transactions of the scheme. Okay. UC uploading is for ministry, but the transaction uploading goes to till Ministry of Finance level. So recording of PFME transactions are a mandatory thing, but still Ministry of Finance has bound for the transaction entries. So I think you have to carry out. And you are getting the training because you need to carry out all the transactions. How to generate a EAT report? I'll tell you. If any interest paid on TDS, okay, interest paid on TDS. What is this thing? Sorry, I'm not getting. Mr. Sandeep, can you ask verbally?
That is tax deduction at source, ma'am. TDS.
Yeah, tax deduction and so, but interest paid on TDC. What is interest paid on TDS?
Ma'am, due date is 7th of every month, na?
Okay.
That time after 7th, we have to pay interest on TDS.
Okay. So you have to make CBDT as a vendor and then carry out the expenditure entry of the interest amount only. Okay.
Yeah.
This way you can pay the interest on TDS. Next, how can we register for PFMS portal as incubator? See, agency cannot register itself on PFMS portal. The organization, the ministry who is funding you can register you on the PFMS. So whenever the ministry will need to fund you, then they will register you on PFMS. What entry should we do if we give grants to startups? What if we provide seed funding, and how it can be settled? So if you are granting some money to startups, these startups are treated as vendors because they are not getting the grant in the Ministry of Finance sense. They are getting a grant to flourish. So these startups can be treated as vendors. You can initiate an advance if you think that a settlement will be made by them. If you think this is just an expenditure, you can carry out an expenditure entry. But in any case, startups cannot be treated as agencies. Okay. And along with, I think how it can be settled is also answered. While updating the bank account details in existing scheme, then what should be the component code? Components belongs to the scheme, not the bank details. So if bank details are updated, component code will remain the same. We have entered all the expenditures in capital. Now we need to change into revenue. Do we need to reversal, submit, or DA reject? See, if you have approved from the DA level, then you have to create the reversals. If you have not approved from the DA level, then you can reject the vouchers and edit the vouchers and file the entries. Okay, both way you can do. Scheme number 1819. I don't know what you are trying to ask. Mr. Shashank, can you please ask verbally what you want to ask, because you have written just scheme number 1819. Okay, I think he's not there. Next question is, can we reverse the transaction after PPA generation? No, you cannot reverse the transaction. So
Hello?
whenever, yeah, please.
Yeah, Shashank here.
Yeah, please.
If I want to ask you about the while registering the while, as you said, while updating the bank details of existing scheme, so the component code for that.
Sorry, your voice is breaking. I'm unable to hear your question.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
So while updating the bank details for existing scheme, asking for the activity component code. So which component do I need to select that?
Select select bulk. Tick on bulk and proceed. If you select individual components, if some component will remain, then you will not be able to use the components in future. Also, if program division will add new components, if he'll change the components, then it will be a trouble for you if you select the individual components. So whenever you register a scheme, update bank details from the register new scheme option, always tick on bulk option in component menu. Then it will be fine. Okay.
Okay. And the second follow-on question is, I have updated the bank details and all. Okay. Now it is pending at a PD level. Okay.
Okay.
But in the name of the account name in the bank, agency account name in the bank, I'm updating the CII initiatives POI 17. But once I submitted, then the only CII initiatives name is able to see that name only, not showing the full name that POI 17.
Actually, bank and agency name in the bank is sent to us by the bank itself. So whatever return against the bank account in your bank, actual bank account in your bank, that is reverted back to us, and we reflect only that.
It will automatically update it once it approves that.
Yeah, automatically updated. And if it is showing that pending PD approval, you have to ask your ministry to approve the details. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Parv.
Next question is, can we reverse the transaction after PPA generation? No, you cannot reverse the transaction after PPA generation. If you have generated a PPA and you don't want to submit it to bank, you want to reverse the transaction, you have to wait till 15 to 20 days. Bank will automatically expire that PPA and amount will be credited back into your PFMS account. So you cannot manually reverse that. It will be automatically reversed when bank will send the expiry of that PPA. How can we know that any fund we are received is shown in PFMS? How can we know that any fund we have received is shown in PFMS? Just check in the option My Fund Received from Central Government. From EAT02 report also you can see all these things. I'll explain. Next, expenditure of that fund, what we have to show the expenditure from grant received from state government. Okay, whether we have to show the expenditure from grant received from state. So if you are receiving anything from state government, you can take it as a receipt from in the option My Funds Received from state government. Operator will initiate this receipt and approver will approve this receipt, and after that you can file the entry of whatever you are getting from the state government. Okay. If we pay grant to any incubate, then it is considered as vendor. Incubators are not the beneficiary, but the vendors. Beneficiaries are meant only for the DBT, subsidy kind of thing. Okay. Cash withdrawal for petty expenses taken as self in PFMS, yes, but how to show each cash expense in PFMS? The functionality is still not available in PFMS for showing the petty cash expense you have done. Okay, so you can show only what you have withdrawn from bank, but you cannot show the individual transaction against the cash. Functionality is not developed yet. What entry we will do if we invest fund in startups? So as an investment, if you are making in the startups, so you are getting some equity and any kind of thing. Right now we don't have such investment facility in PFMS. You cannot show such kind of things in PFMS. So what you can do is initiate an advance in the name of startup. If you are getting some share from equity, some dividend if you are getting, then you can enter that dividend in the interest income portion. That would be a better option for crediting the dividend, or you can enter that in income from other sources. But interest income or the receipt named interest income would be the best one. So in this way you can do like this: initiate and advance, and if any proceeds you are getting as dividend or something, you can enter it under interest income. So in this way you can do, and whenever the startup will refund you money, if in case it happens, startup will return you the money, you can settle the advance as refund and get the money back. Okay. If PP expire, then what should do? You have to do nothing. If PP expire, then amount will be credited back into your PFMS balance. To check that, we have a report also, and you can initiate the transaction again if you want. How to record impressed amount drawn from the bank? Do the expenditure entry, and during the expenditure entry, select expenditure done for self instead of vendor. Select self. If in a particular scheme we have to do certain percentage of own contribution apart from the agency share, do we need to update expenditure entries just for agency share on PFMS or for both agency and on contribution? If on contribution expenditure entries are to be entered, which option should we use? See, carrying out the expenditure entries, the options are same: expenditure, advances and transfers. Okay. But to get the receipt onboarded on PFMS, whatever is the agency contribution, its own contribution, if you are using your own contribution in this scheme, then you have to onboard the receipt on PFMS, then expenditure entries can be carried out. To onboard the receipts, you have to use the option income from other sources. Fund type as donor, fund source can be miscellaneous, and you can initiate the receipt, and after that you can carry out the transactions. Okay. Questions are done.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
ma'am,
yeah,
one more, ma'am. Ma'am,
yeah, please ask.
ma'am, actually, individual bank account for individual scheme is, we can choose this, or merging with two schemes with one bank account. Which one is better, ma'am?
See, in PFMS, the balances and transactions are maintained scheme and bank account wise. Okay. So if you have a single bank account linked with multiple schemes, PFMS balance will be separately maintained in PFMS. There will be no merging. Okay.
Okay,
But in actual bank account, if multiple scheme amount is credited in one bank account, so in your books of account, you may feel some trouble for bifurcation of amount for each scheme. So in PFMS terms, one bank account can be linked to multiple schemes, and you can carry out transactions easily without merging any balance with each another. Okay. But in actual books of account and your actual manual reconciliation kind of thing, whatever you feel right, you can do it.
Okay, ma'am. But individual is better, actually, ma'am, without choosing merging.
If you can maintain individual bank account for each and every scheme, then it would be a better thing. If you cannot maintain, then the other option can also be exercised.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, your contact details and the IP number, ma'am, you can.
Yeah, so I'm entering my contact details again. My mobile number I have entered. My this email ID also I'm writing here. Also the UAT, the training server IP, the IDs,
Repeat your mobile number once again, ma'am.
I have written in chat box, you can see.
Okay, okay, okay.
Admin ID and operator. From the this I have shared the admin ID, or from with the admin ID you can create the operator and approver ID if you need to test and practice. The password will be for this ID will be ROOT@1234, or sometime we change the password to, so either of two passwords can be used. This ICR_admin, root@1234 or root@123. IP address will be 164.100.129.32, and my email ID and mobile number I have written in chat box. So you can use this portal as the training portion or the testing purpose if you have to work on that. So I'm sharing my screen again to show you the report part which is left with us. So we have first report we have is the EAT02 report. If I'll be able to show you in the live portion, that would be a better one. So this is my live login. Okay, so reports can be seen from administrator, operator and approver. All the three levels can view the reports. In the left hand side you can you get an option of reports. Okay, go to reports, then we have the EAT. Here we have the EAT reports. We have number of reports: EAT 02, 03, 04, 07, 09. These 5 reports you will be able to see, and EAT 11. This is under development. EAT 11 is under development. Other reports you can see. The most important report is the EAT 02 report. You can see the EAT 02 report and get all the EAT transactions in a single row. You can see everything. So I have to generate for last financial year. Reports are something. So your controller is science and technology. Science and technology. So here we can see your scheme report 1819 scheme. So program division has mapped 266 organization at the first level, and 81 organizations are at the second level, and 9 organizations are at the third level. So as you can see from the report, as I am loading this report, I am getting the report for all the organizations. But if you will load the report, you will get the report only for your organization. Okay. Then we have the columns like release from Government of India, GOI. As you can see, there are small plus signs in few columns. In column number 3, this is a small plus sign. The small plus signs are there in these columns. So you can click on the plus sign and expand the report. Okay. So whatever funds you have received from ministry will appear in column number 3. So column number 3 will show that in this financial year, in the selected financial year, what amount of fund you have received from Government of India, from ministry. So you can see from this report. Next column we have 3A. So as I said that whenever you will receive a fund from ministry, so you have to log in into agency administrator, go to my funds received from central government, click on the fund and receive that. So the amount is credited to your bank account, but in PFMS you have to click that sanction to receive the funds, that I have received this fund. So whenever you will receive the funds, the 3 and 3A column will match. As I can see in your in this scheme report, the funds are released by Government of India, but organization has not received that on PFMS. So there will be a difference of unspent balance which you will be seeing and which is appearing in report. Next, we have the release from the parent agency. That means if there is a transfer happening from one agency to another, so that will be in received from parent agency, and fund received in EAD, means whatever parent agency is releasing to the child agency, and if child agency is received that fund on PFMS or not. So this is 4 and 4A column. I think one same organization is mapped twice at the state level and district level both, so that's why the same fund is appearing again and again. Next, we have the return fund, the amount which you have got from the ministry, and from that amount if you have returned something back to the ministry, then it will appear in column number 4B. How to refund that? Okay, go to my funds received from central government. Go to my funds received from central government, select the financial year in which the fund is received. Of course, the login financial year, because the financial year in which you got the fund, you have to return the fund in that financial year too. If we can check in 1819, this dummy server has got something. Okay, I think error will continue for some time. We'll check again. So the option is my funds received from central government. Click on select the scheme bank account, click on the sanction and return fund. Okay, but before clicking on return fund, you should enter the amount, how much you want to return. So whatever you will return back to the ministry, that will be a book entry in PFMS only, and actual return you have to carry out through other mode, whether check, DD, NEFT, RTGS, NTRP, whatever mode you want to use, you can use that mode. But notional entry should be done on PFMS portal. Okay. Next, we have the total receipt. The total receipt is nothing but the other receipts other than the Government of India release or parent agency release. The other receipts you are getting: interest income, state government, receipt from state government. If interbank transfer, if you have carried out any, as I can see, some organization has carried out interbank transfer, the minus figure shows that the agency has done interbank transfer from one scheme to another, means one scheme money is transferred to another scheme. This minus figure shows that 1819 scheme money is transferred to some other scheme. So that's why a minus figure is appearing here. So interbank transfer is like this way. Funds from other sources, if you are getting some grant fund type, if fund type will be grant in aid or donor, then it will appear in column number 5D. If you have initiated any loan, then it will appear in loan amount. So loan amount will not appear in it 5D. So income from other sources entry, if fund type is grant in aid or donor, then it will appear in 5D. Otherwise, it will appear in loan amount column. Okay. Then we'll have the opening balance. Opening balance is the unspent balance for previous financial year and the opening balance entry if you have made in the current financial year. So as per rule, opening balance should be once. If you are making more than one entry, then you have to take approval of the ministry or your funding organization. The change has been carried out. Earlier, any number of entries can be done in opening balance, but right now only single entry is allowed. And after that, you have to take approval of your funding organization. Next, we have the total available fund. So in total available fund, we are counting the release from the government of India, whatever is released by the government of India. Column number 3, release from parent agency. If any other organization is releasing you money, then other total other receipts and the total opening balance, all these accounts for as total available fund, and we subtract the return amount, that is column number 4p. So whatever you are getting from the ministry or from your parent organization, which is not much in case of your scheme, so whatever you are getting from the ministry, you have to click that sanction and receive that in PFMS. Then only balance will reconcile. The front end balance which is appearing at your level and the balance appearing in the report as unspent balance will be reconciled. Okay. Then we have the total EAT amount. EAT means expenditure, advance and transfer. All these three transaction amount will be total EAT amount, and this total EAT amount has the bifurcation called total expenditure, advances and transfers. So expenditure EAT, expenditure REIT and DBT is not applicable to you. Bank charges, I have told you the what expenditure EAT is. All the expenditures you are making, whether single entry, whether bulk customization, if advanced settlements, in advanced settlements you are selecting the expenditure portion, then also it will appear in the expenditure EAT. Okay. Then advances will show the all the unsettled advances, and transfer will show the transfers, net transfers if it is happening. Then we have the unspent balances. The difference between the total available fund and the total EAT amount will appear as the unspent balance. So in a single row, you can see all the EAT transactions. Next, if you will go in detail, so I'm clicking on 9 number because it's very less and will load soon. So when you will click on the agency count, which in case will appear as 1. So if you click on 1, your agency name, unique code, state of registration, every detail will open again, and you will expand the total EAT amount. Okay. And in expenditure EAT, you will get a blue hyperlink. Okay. So if you click on blue hyperlink, then you will get the voucher wise expenditure report. Also in advance and transfer, if you have initiated any, then you will get a blue hyperlink on advances and transfer also, and by clicking on that you can get a voucher wise report. In this way, voucher wise report, and it will show whether it was an expenditure or an advance settlement. So nature of payment will be expenditure or advance settlement. Okay. So in this way you can get the voucher wise report. If you want to download this report, from this option you can download in Excel. Okay. So you can get this report. If you want to reconcile your entries with PFMS, then you should check all the entries which you have made on front end, and then check it with the report entries, verify them. If you find any discrepancies, then see if you used a PPA mode, then if in PPA mode, if a reversal is happening, that means a bank is sending a expiry or failure of the PPA, then the voucher status will be as approved only in PFMS. So you will, by seeing the vouchers in at front end in PFMS, you will able to recognize whether this voucher is failed or what kind of thing. So from this E8009 report, from this E8009 report, you can see all the failures. So let's check. Okay, I think so. You have to select your controller, scheme, and your agency name. So from this report, you can see whether any expiry or failure of PPA has happened. So in this agency case, there is no failure, or I have to select some other. In this way, you can get the details of the PPAs which expired or failed, and the payment type, whether it was a transfer or expenditure or whatever. Okay. So you can get the report of failed transactions. Then we have the E8007 report. This is meant only for the agency. Any of you can tell your agency name or unit code? I can load for you. Sometimes take so much time.
Ma'am, you can check for triple IT. I'll tell the agency name. Triple IT H Foundation.
Name is completely written in PFMS, Indian International Institute of.
It was it's the user ID is small only. This only, ma'am. Triple IT.
No, user ID. Agency name is International Institute of Information Technology, Hyderabad.
Yes, ma'am. International Institute of Information Technology, Hyderabad Foundation. Yes, ma'am. Agency name is full.
Sometimes it takes time to search the agency, no? But in your case, if you load from your side, it will not take that time.
Yes.
It's not searching. I don't know why it's not searching.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, please.
Actually, we are getting a fund for the financial year 21-22, ma'am. You assume that actually we are getting a fund from April 1st, ma'am.
Okay.
We we are unable to utilize this money within the end of March.
Okay.
For example, some part of money, ma'am, for 1 lakh or 2 lakh is remaining. That remaining money we can utilize for next financial year. That is not possible.
Yeah. It will be automatically carried forward.
Carried forward. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, sure.
That bills date and all not issue, no, ma'am.
No.
Not an issue. Okay, ma'am. I think that actually that particular financial year we should not able. We can carry forward this amount to next financial year, not an issue.
Yeah, it is automatically carried forward in your case. I think the system is not searching any agency right now. Maybe
okay, ma'am.
Is not. Sorry, I am not.
And in case I am asking the doubt, we are receiving this financial year as an expenditure for DST. For example, DST is an expenditure for this financial year for our.
See, what happens is if the money is released for the expenditure in the in one financial year only. So if the transactions are being carried out in next financial year also, so this is a policy decision, because generally the ministry assumes that the fund which is given is for 1 year requirement. So transactions can be carried out afterwards also. Sometimes the sanctions are issued, but actual transaction lies. Please mute your mic. Please mute your mic. So what happens is the sanction date can be of previous financial year, but if you are carrying out the actual transaction in the current financial year, then the date of transaction should be in the current financial year. So the amount which is left at 31st March, it is automatically carried forward for the 1st April. So you don't need to worry. Just whether you can use this amount or not, PFMS has no objection in it. But if ministry has some objection, then you have to ask.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Small doubt, ma'am. Actually, date and all, some small doubt. That's fine, ma'am.
Okay. Date. The actual transaction date should lie within the financial year, within the login financial year in which you have logged in. So
Yes, ma'am.
the actual transaction date should be the actual one on which the transaction was carried out. Sanction date can be any.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Fine, ma'am. The actual pending amount, we should have the bills at the pending date, right, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Correct, ma'am. Correct. Thanks, ma'am. Thanks, ma'am. Right.
Yeah. We have report 807 report. I don't know why the system is not searching for the agency. So this is for agencies only. So what you can have from this report is, if your organization is working for multiple schemes, then for all these schemes you can load EAT report for all these schemes in which your organization is working in a one go. So in EAT report you have to first select the scheme, then only can load the report. So in a single row you can get the EAT details of your agency for one scheme, but from each 7 you can get the EAT details for all the schemes of your agency, okay, in a single row. Next, we have the E8003 report, which is a component-wise report. So whatever expenses you have made in the components, you can see from this report. So as I am seeing this report, so I can see the whole scheme component wise expenditure, but if you will load the report, you will get the component wise expenditure done by you. So in this way you can see the component wise expenditure done by you. So if ministry is asking along with the UC, you should submit the component wise details of expenditure made in the scheme, so you can attach this copy of report. Okay. So in level 4, there is a small plus sign. If you will expand, if further more components are made by the ministry, you can get the report. Okay, so in this way, you can see the component-wise expenditure done by your organization. Okay. Next, we have the EAT04 report, which may or may not be useful to you, but I'll show. This may or may not be useful to the institutes, but it is useful for the ministry. So in this report, I'm again clicking on the district level because it has less. So in this report, you will get the actual bank balances lying with you. Okay, in this report, the name of your institute, state of registration, the bank name, the bank account number, the actual balance lying in your bank account, and the EAT entries. The total available fund as per EAT02 report, total EAT amount as per EAT02 report, and unspent balance as per EAT02 report. So it will show like this, along with the actual bank balance lying at your bank account. So for the agencies, bank shares the actual bank balances of your bank account with PFMS. If we click on the bank account, you'll get the you can get your passport. Okay, so it shows that this particular organization, Institute of Engineering, Science and Technology, has done 12 transactions in the month of April from this bank account. So, and the amount was debit this one, credit this one, and if you will further click on transaction count, you can get individual transactions. So you can check the bank passbook from this. So these are the reports which people can use for various purposes. Other reports are not meant to the agencies. Some people check the E10 report. Instead of EAT02 report, some people check E10 report. So E10, E10 report is not very authentic. It is very old report and has very old logics. So please do not refer E10 report. Please check E82 report whenever you want to reconcile your transactions PFMS. In E82 report, so whenever you want to check the balance, I just share my presentation now. That would be much better. So if you want to check the balance showing at the front end during the transaction and the unspent balance, in any case, these two should match. Just the difference is due to the loan amount. Okay. So if they're not matching, then what scenarios can be there? First, whatever is released to you by the government of India, by the ministry, is not received by you. So whatever fund is released to you by the central government from 1819 onwards, you should receive that fund in PFMS portal. Second thing, all the transaction, all the EAT transaction, no transaction should be in reversal created or reversal submitted mode. Just a minute, if I can log in into this. Please mute your mic. I'm getting some disturbance. So the difference could be due to reversal created or reversal submitted entry. If you want to reconcile the entries, go to expenditures, manage, select the scheme, the bank account, and select status as reversal created. See, these statuses does not create any differences between the report and the front end balance. Only two status vouchers creates the differences between the unspent balance as in reports and the front end balance. These two statuses are reversal created and reversal submitted. So if you are finding any trouble in reconciliation that there is a difference, so go to expenditures, manage, check status as reversal created and search. Then check reversal submitted and search. If there is any voucher in these states, either approve this voucher or reject this voucher, difference will be removed. So in this way you can reconcile expenditures, manage bulk fund expenditure if you have done through bulk customization, manage if you have done single entry, advances, manage if you have done single entry, if bulk customization, then bulk fund advance. So in this way you can check whether there is any voucher which is in reversal created status or reversal submitted status. That would create a difference between the available fund as in front end and in report. Also, if there is a loan, then also difference will be there. And in unspent balance, we do not account for the loan. As you can see, we have not given any column number to the loan amount portion. So in available fund, which is available, which is seen by you at the front end during the expenditure filing, in that available fund, loan amount is accounted, loan amount is added. But in unspent balance in report, loan amount is not added. So if difference is there, please calculate the difference. If it is due to loan amount, then it is okay. If there is no loan amount, then also a difference is appearing at you. So you have to check. There should not be any difference between value of column number 3 and 3A. There should not be a voucher in reversal created or reversal submitted state since 2018-19. Okay, so in this way you can reconcile the voucher. Also, you can download the vouchers from the EAT02 report, reconcile it with the front end vouchers, and in this way you can reconcile your EAT module, whole EAT module. If still after checking all these things, if still you find some gaps, so what you can do is download the Excel formats of your report. Excel download your report since 2018-19, means all these financial year 18-19, 19-20, 20-21 and the current one. Download all 4 reports along with the screenshot of front end balance. If you have any trouble in reconciling, then send it to me via mail, mentioning your agency name, your agency unique code, the bank account number of your agency, and the scheme code. Along with all these details, the Excel downloads of the reports, please send it via email, and the difference, how much difference is appearing. So we'll check from our end and then we'll reconcile. Okay. So I think I'm done from my part. And one compliment I want to give to ISBA. So I have provided many online trainings since the corona period, and this was the most organized training I have ever felt. No disturbance, no fuss. Everybody has asked question from chat box, and it was well organized, and I was able to answer each and every question. So I'm very happy that I have answered everybody's queries, and this is a well organized training. Thank